This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
It's needed to maintain those basins. Some of the other, updates or requests in peer review letter were to, and a lot of these were categorized as would like to haves. They were not must haves per the stormwater regulations. So there are places where, it talks about, berm widths and slopes and things like that. And a lot of those aren't specified in the stormwater handbook. It's, it would be a good idea if, and so there's a number of, things that, we adjusted. But there were questions about, enlarging the infiltration basin, changing, the freeboard capacity and the elevation along the berm. Most of those were done to some extent. As I pointed out, some of these, fell into would like to have a 5-foot flat section across that berm. We had the ability to make it 4 just because the gradient straight started to push into the wetlands. And so there were certain, balances that we had to, compromises that we had to, minimum slopes behind the basin, within the basin, all of those we want to adhere to. So, the response generally was that we tried to provide these to as much of the request as possible, but there are other limitations that, came into play. None of those are, again, required by the handbook or by the stormwater standards. So there's a number of things like that. There were several, additional details, clarifications in details. All of those got captured in this latest plan set. There was some information about the biofiltration systems to treat stormwater off the parking lot. That was another, sort of major component of those responses. So all of those had been addressed. And then lastly, as I noted, the big picture was, was waiting for these additional soil test results to classify these soils as all D soils, which was, what the premise of the stormwater design was based on. And so there were 5 additional test pits that were dug today, starting this morning. Starting with test pit number 1, this is 2, I believe. 3 is at the corner of the parking lot, and then 4 and 5 under the building. And what the soils had mapped is that everything to the left of this blue line were D soils, everything to the right were B soils that had started this whole sort of process. So the infiltration rates that they got today, this was just via email, we'll get the results in a report tomorrow, was this hole where, presumably were the best soils, got a 0.014 inch per hour infiltration rate. The D soil classification starts at 0.14 inches per hour. So we're, well below that threshold. And so these are certainly D soils. Everything else was worse than that. That was the best test pit. So we're pretty confident that those, will be reclassified as all D soils. And so the maximum extent practical applies in the stormwater, in terms of the stormwater regulations. And so that's what, how we responded to those memos or to those comments. I don't think there are any other major updates. Obviously, we'll wait to see what he has to say, but that's sort of a summary of where we are.
Is Bucky on?
He's not on the meeting today. He plans to come to the next meeting, the 9:29 meeting.
Okay.
As he will have a chance to review Berkshire Design's comments, and then they'll go back and forth from there.
Any other questions for the commission?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Did we want to discuss those 2 items?
Go for it, yes.
I don't know what your issue is, so you can go ahead. Maybe it will cover mine.
Okay. So one was a question about the wetland marker signage.
Mhm.
And so I had asked, a question to the commission. So they're putting the post 1 foot from the wetland edge. So I wanted to know if that was sufficient. That was far enough from the wetlands where they're putting the posts. As far as, like a boundary.
Is there a standard for us that we usually follow?
I don't know. That's why I was asking.
I mean, I think if we want them to serve as a as the actual delineation, then having them right on the line makes sense.
Mhm.
So that's okay. The other question was, so it says that every sign, so a sign is on every fourth post, which are 20 feet apart, which would be one sign every 80 feet. And I thought our standard from other properties was about 20 feet, 25 feet.
Yeah, 80 sounds a little high.
Given that these are relatively small wetlands, maybe a few more signs.
That's fine. And just for reference, so some of these are further than 1 foot away. They sort of follow the path of the trail really is where we abut the wetlands the most. So they're not called out on this plan specifically, but this is the markers here. And they were at least intended to follow that trail line, which seemed like an obvious.
Yes, yeah.
And yeah, certainly I don't think there's any issue with putting more signage on more of those, but there aren't dozens of them. There's 3 in this location. There's, 5, 6 in this location.
Do we have the sheet to show? It's in the plans.
Yeah, I do have that. So,
LC 503.
I have it if you want to stop sharing, Jeff.
yeah, and I've got it here. If that does help. So this is.
Yeah.
Yep. Those
Those are the signs.
placard on a 6x6 post.
And so the
You could
posts
put them on every one for that matter. I mean, there really aren't that many of them, so I don't think that's.
So how far are the posts spread out?
I think they're 20 feet on center,
Okay.
roughly.
So you're gonna do them every other post, 40 feet apart?
I just remember when we did it for other properties,
A
it was
little closer.
20 feet or 25.
I don't remember a number that we held anybody to.
Maybe it makes sense to have more signs where people would be walking as opposed to ones where there's not as much foot traffic.
Well, they're along where the foot trails are, right?
Right.
Right.
I didn't know if all of them were. I knew that those ones. Do we care if it says wetland preserve or is it just preserve?
I think if they could identify them as wetlands, that would be ideal.
Yeah, I think it's preserve. It's not meant to designate a, wildlife preserve. It's a preserve as in a verb.
Don't do them every other signpost.
So if 40, you think 40 feet?
40 feet?
Good.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay. Commissioner Carr, you had a question?
Maybe if I missed it because you were covering a lot of ground there. But one of the comments in Bucky's letter was that it appears that roughly 1/3 of the basin may be within the 3 feet of the groundwater. Did you talk about that?
I didn't highlight that. It was one of our responses that, the stormwater regs require, like a single test pit in each basin. We appreciate that there's some slope involved there. Part of this is in fill, part of this is in cut, and there is a low flow channel to make sure that basin drains out. And so during some extremely wet periods of the year, much of this site is going to be wet just because of the nature of the soil. It's terribly draining soil. We're trying to provide a path for that drainage to outlet. So, I doubt that groundwater elevation, our response is that groundwater elevation may have very little impact, across that 6 inches or foot of grade change, for those reasons.
I guess you can see what Bucky says. He had asked for a mounding analysis.
Right. Yeah.
Your thoughts, Mr. Stormwater?
Not really. Nope.
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, most of them.
I mean, not a lot, I guess. So we're beating the standard in a lot of different spots here. The 3-foot separation, right? It's just an isolated, a single test pit relative to one basin.
Right.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Bucky said it was roughly 1/3 of the basin. But he was saying 1/3 of the stormwater system. And that's what
yeah, like I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay.
Particularly since for part of the basin, if groundwater's, deeper than that, and then it gets a little bit shallower, I think that means if the whole basin were, pretty close to groundwater, then there could be no problem. Groundwater's kind of dipping up, but it seems like it probably would still drain theoretically.
I was just wanting to highlight it in red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what he says about that, I guess.
I had one more
Go for it.
question. Okay. So on your sheet, LC 101, the demo and erosion control plan, number 7. You have the contractor shall utilize erosion control blanket, protect all slopes steeper than 3H21V until permanently stabilized. My question to the commission was, would we prefer biodegradable erosion control blankets for these sloped areas rather than removable?
Are those biodegradable erosion control blankets proposed?
That's typically what would be in our spec.
Does it not say that?
It just says erosion
Okay,
control.
yes. Normally
blanket.
it's biodegradable.
That's typically, and some of these are covered in our specs specifically. So,
Okay.
Add that note if that's a request.
Okay.
Want to do that?
Okay, yes,
No.
it is.
Might be good.
Actually, I don't even think we have any slopes greater than 3-to-1, but no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Those are all my questions. Thanks.
Any other questions from commissioners? Any questions from the public? Anybody online? So at this point, you're requesting a continuation to the next meeting, is that correct?
Yeah.
Looks like our next meeting is September 29th. Can we get a motion to continue to September 29th?
Motion to continue to September 29th.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next public hearing is a notice of intent filed by Chapel Engineering for a shared path along Route 5. At 111-13 and 110-17. SD file 151-0333. I think we have someone online.
Yep. Yeah, I think we have a few folks
Beautiful.
who'd like to start us off.
I'm John
All right.
Salisbury with Chapel Engineering.
And Erica Larner, Mass DOT Wetlands and Water Resources Coordinator.
And I'm Keith Lincoln with Chapel Engineering.
Thank you all for being here. I will go ahead and pull up. Well, which submission would you like to start with? Do you want to start with the response to Mass DEP comments? I think we're open to whichever way you prefer. We are dividing it equally, so I think whichever the commission would prefer to talk about first, we can talk about it in whichever order you like. Yeah, the response to the comments, we have the response to the question of ordinance versus standards, and then we also have Diane's comments.
Sure, let's do the ordinance and standards first then.
Okay, excellent. All right. All right, great then. Well, thank you very much. This was a very interesting exercise. We actually thoroughly enjoyed having some of our co-ops learn how to read through bylaws and regulations and how to apply them. So it was a really interesting exercise. So thank you. Let's say the main points that we came across here is that, for starters, interestingly enough, because we are not impacting the municipal storm drainage system, nor are we actually doing work on private property. It's questionable whether this would apply even if we weren't exempt from local bylaws and such. We found things like instead of incorporating the MESCG for urban and suburban areas, Mass DEP stormwater standards don't utilize that. We do. We have a little more flexibility in the erosion and sedimentation controls that we propose. Other things might be that, let's see, rather than being regulated through this, we are being regulated through the EPA's NIPD's construction general permit. Small things like no fees, but let me get down to the actual content. I think the procedures and reviews are probably not the main focus you folks are interested in. Let's see. So one of the standards is that the objectives being the criteria for review of stormwater management plans. They're saying that requiring a pre-development and post-development runoff and volume to be equivalent or improved. Mass DEP stormwater standards allow for limited projects or redevelopment projects to occasionally have, treat to the maximum extent practicable, which can occasionally mean that the post-development will have greater runoff than pre-development. That is the case in this circumstance. The Easthampton, ordinance requires the use of low impact development techniques. Mass DEP stormwater standards require that they are considered. For this project, we are incorporating some LID techniques such as an infiltration basin, minimizing the amount of impervious we added, using the sheet flow off the shared use path to adjacent soils to break up the impervious, as well as allow for infiltration. But we also did consider and discard rain gardens and permeable pavements because we just simply wouldn't be able to do the maintenance and they would lose their effectivity pretty quickly. Another one being that maintaining these facilities as attractive and the natural integrity of the environment. There is no aesthetics or attractiveness standards for Mass DEP. We didn't consider that in here. Let's see. We briefly went over the LID techniques and performance standards. So in the performance standards, there's a discussion of an operation and maintenance plan. We do have one. It is contained within this filing. One of the things that is different is that you folks require that this is signed and recorded, and that is not part of the stormwater, DEP standards. And let's see, DEP also does not require that these systems are optimized for nitrogen removal. And while there's nothing particularly in our design designed for the nitrogen removal, removing the total suspended solids will reduce the nitrogen, just not as a specific BMP for that. Let's see. I believe that there's some difference in how you folks may define what a sensitive receptor is, including you folks may include just streams, wetlands, vernal pools, obviously, and other items. Mass DEP stormwater standards define critical areas as limited to Zone 2, wellhead protection, outstanding resource waters, or cold water fisheries. There are none of those critical areas in the region of this project. Excuse me. Frog in my throat. And stormwater management measures. We do propose grass swales. I apologize if I'm looking at my own PDF while trying to not speak for too long. Okay, so there are quite a few things that are greater than, and I underlined quite a few of them because there were so many of them in the document, and we can go over them more specifically. But for instance, you folks require a minimum depth to seasonal high water. That would be 3 feet. DEP requires 2. And I think there's a few others. Perhaps, the performance bond is another one. While the DEP standards do not require a performance bond, Mass DOT does require a performance bond from its contractors. And that the ability to do enforcement through the ordinance would no longer be in effect, but you would still be able to always issue stop work orders and enforcements through the Wetlands Protection Act. So I believe I may have summarized them pretty well. If I missed anything vital, if you have specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I just didn't want to read the entire letter to you.
Thank you.
No, I don't think so. Thank you.
So what's the next letters is the Chapel Engineering?
Yeah, let's take a look at this one. So this was the response regarding the additional test pits that the commission requested back in May. Is that, I think that's right. Who's taking this one?
I guess I'll take a stab at it. So yeah, when we met last May, there was a request that we perform the minimum of 3 test pits specifically within our infiltration BMP, which we did over the period of time from when we met in May until I think the test pits were performed in June. And so we used the results from that analysis, which did yield a lower infiltration rate, updated the design of the, or at least the analysis. The design has remained the same, but we have updated our analysis to be consistent with the results of those 3 test pits using the lowest infiltration rate of the 3. And there is a brief explanation here. There was one issue we did have where we have a kind of an unusual anomaly where the depth to seasonal high groundwater was found to be at a difference of about 2.5, 3 feet between 2 of the test pits and one that was done, one of the 3 that would be within the infiltration basin. We tried to offer an explanation, and we've got our geotech sub has concurred on this, that what we are thinking is that because this entire area consists of a layer of pavement, the old Route 5, it looks like, actually went underneath what is now the grass infield between the 2 driveways accessing the transfer station and adjacent to the Manhan trailhead. We're thinking that was actually the result of a perched water table on top of that asphalt layer, that we will be breaking up and removing as part of the infiltration basin, as well as the parking area and the work we do within the footprint that we'd be working in.
And Keith, may I ask, I believe maybe not at this test pit stage, but the first time you were out, you folks actually did observe that asphalt, correct?
Oh, yeah, yes.
You've seen
Yes.
it. It's not just an assumption. It's definitely
No.
there. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And with all 5 test pits, you can see a clear layer of pavement that they basically was just filled on top of. That I think is a factor in these tests that were performed. And as I said, we used the lowest of the 3 infiltration rates we got within the BMP within the infiltration basin, and updated the analysis accordingly. And I know, Ava, you had a question regarding the bottom elevation of the basin. Yes. So what we are proposing is that bottom elevation would be a grass layer that is primarily kind of like what Erica was saying. It's Mass DOT standard for infiltration basin. It's something that can be maintained, and that's the preference here, rather than a crushed stone basin, which is a more challenging maintenance for the forces. So that bottom elevation is proposed at 118, and our 2 test pits, 2 of the 3, we got elevations of 115.55 and 115.32 for the estimated seasonal high groundwater. So a little bit in excess of 2 feet at those locations. And so what we tried to do with the response also was go through the standards specific to the parking area, as that is area that we would need to treat as new construction, as opposed to redevelopment for the shared use path itself. So going through all of these standards, the intent here is to demonstrate full compliance for the increase in impervious brought forth by the parking area, or the expansion of the existing parking area to the trailhead.
And so our city engineer, Diane Rossini Smith, had an opportunity to review their resubmission and their original submission. And I'll go ahead and pull up, but this is her review right up here. So without reading every word, I'll start in here. Based on her review, this submission appears to meet the Mass DEP stormwater standards. One item of note is in relation to the 2-foot Mass DEP separation requirement for the filtration basin. This is kind of one of our key differences, the 2 to 3 feet in the standards versus the ordinance, as Erica stated. And excluding test pit 5, test pit 2 and 6 meet 2 feet by about half a foot. So there's just not a ton of space here, and that was partially why she asked for the detail of the basin, because if it was crushed stone, we would measure from the bottom of the crushed stone 2 feet down. But the grass means that we are just measuring it right at the surface there. So the basin, the bottom of the basin is the actual elevation of the stormwater BMP. And she does agree with Chapel here that she thinks it's reasonable to assume that test pit 5 is a perched groundwater outlier and amid its elevation. If test pit 5 is omitted from consideration, the infiltration basin does meet the 2-foot groundwater separation requirement. But she basically just adds a couple words of caution that this basin must meet the 72 infiltration requirements, 72-hour infiltration requirements, in order to receive its certificate of compliance regardless. So the math certainly comes out to be 10 hours, so significantly less than 72, but we've seen throughout town that doesn't always happen in practice. So just that we're working within a half a foot of the groundwater level here, and that could potentially be a concern.
But did you say, Keith, that you are planning to break up that buried pavement?
Yes, so in the construction of this new infiltration basin, we would excavate beneath that and remove the pavement layer that exists within that footprint.
So it sounds
And-
like you're hoping that test pit 5 actually will meet the 2 foot by the time you're done with that. Am I understanding that correctly?
Right, and that in general, it would be the actual seasonal high groundwater is in the 115.5 range, and that it just in the area where they took that test pit, there was trapped water at one point in time that created the redoxymorphic characteristics in the soil strata to make it look like that was seasonal high groundwater, when really it was just trapped water.
Got it.
And one thing I forgot to mention too is that the reason we can't go any higher with this and create more groundwater separation is because of the floodplain. It's a really, really delicate balance that we've had to strike with not introducing any fill at any of the contour intervals within which we're working. So we can't go any higher to create more separation. That elevation and the grading we've come up with does compensate for or does provide flood storage at every interval. But if we start changing that, then we risk that being able to provide the storage.
That makes sense.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I think on stormwater, I think I'm good.
I don't believe the commission had remaining questions regarding the resource area impacts. Do you remember differently?
No.
Yeah, I just don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a little while, yeah.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah, so I was just trying to refamiliarize myself with things and go through Mark Stinson's letter and the response to those comments, and just the thing where I'm uncertain and wasn't following 100% of the way is just where we are on riverfront performance standards. Thank you for doing the additional test pit work and the answer those questions on the ordinance and the design questions on stormwater.
Absolutely.
So are there conditions that we need to request for this, or?
Well, so I guess first, where are we on riverfront
So
performance standards?
yeah, so I think the riverfront, most of this work is, I think all of the work is exempt under the riverfront as a minor activity in the riverfront. It's the fact that the work is under the border, is within bordering land subject to flooding, that was of more concern because it doesn't get those minor activity exemptions.
Yeah, so maybe I was trying to read through Mark's letter and the response, and I didn't have time to look up all the regulatory citations given. So, and I think part of it was that their minor activities in riverfront areas don't apply where there's overlapping resource areas, and just making sure we're all like squared away on how that. I'm not sure. So certain activities in riverfront area are considered minor, and thus fudge it, but thus don't have to meet the performance standards for riverfront area the same way. But if riverfront area and another resource area overlap, then
they do.
Then minor activities, I think, doesn't apply. Or that exemption for minor activities doesn't apply. That's kind of what I was getting from the back and forth, but I couldn't follow what the conclusion was for our permitting pathway.
So we received this was the first response letter to Mass DPs. responses to MassDOT. Do you want to remind us of this at all, Keith? How fresh is this for you?
It does go back a ways. I think, Erica, this is more your wheelhouse. If you can take this one. You're muted, Erica.
Sorry. Yes, it's a touch trickier, and I will need to I need to pull up the document because I need to read so I know that I'm actually stating something accurate. My apologies. This was the response document to DEP's comments. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. I just want to make sure I'm saying the right things here. And I apologize for trying to catch up, folks.
I think just while Erica's getting there, I think these 3 paragraphs right here get at your question, Commissioner Buttrick. So it talks about the activities that are grandfathered or exempted from requirements for the riverfront area, but that this exemption doesn't apply to work occurring within BLSF, which we established. If the commissioner, do you remember their compensatory fill spreadsheet? So they were good on compensatory fill or
Right,
compensatory storage
from the BLSF performance standards. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And there's some, I think there are some like some invasive removal and restoration planting proposed also. And I guess perhaps like some trees and things. Maybe that's how riverfront area performance standards in areas where it's not minor activity gets addressed.
Right.
Yes. Okay. And I apologize, folks. I am still struggling to actually find this particular document. Hi. So if we could possibly zoom in to this so that I can actually more properly. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so that in the portions of riverfront that also have BLSF, they are not technically minor activities. But in effect, they are actually temporary alterations. So while it would not be a minor activity that doesn't need any permitting, we are in front of you folks for an NOI. We're not saying that resurfacing and that reclamation, that it's none of, excuse my bluntness, it's none of your business. We're not saying that. We are here, but we're saying that they are temporary impacts. We're replacing it with the exact same cover type. So in these sections in which there is also floodplain, while that may not be a minor activity that wouldn't require a permit, we are replacing with the same cover type. So we would say that's the same existing conditions. And then in order for us to have at least an improvement over the existing conditions, which is the redevelopment, the most important performance standard for redevelopment is that you should at minimum have an improvement over existing conditions. There is a lot of invasive species along that area. They will be removed, loamed and seeded, and had, no longer have those invasive species. We are doing some improvements to the stormwater that were previously discharging directly into the Manhan that will now be directed into, the grass swales, infiltrating on the strips. So the calculations for what happens at the infiltration basin may not say that there's a huge improvement, but we are taking all of that untreated stormwater that was just going into the Manhan River and directing it towards treatment. There will be some, we'll be restoring it with loam and seed. So I feel that we are actually improving the area with the reduction of the trash, the invasive species, and the improvement to stormwater that was previously sheet flowing into the Manhan. So I think that might be the biggest ones that I just heard. But if there are others, please do ask, and I'm happy to talk about it.
I think that addresses my question. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? So Dan was basically okay with moving forward with this based on her last statement in her letter, right?
Yep. Yeah, she certainly said that it's within compliance of the stormwater standards. Right. And, you know, I think Keith really outlined the delicate balance here between, I guess I wanted to put it out for the commission and maybe the applicant as well. Just so if that 72-hour drawdown can't occur, right, is the infiltration basin, they don't have a ton of room because they're in BLSF to mess around. So I guess I was curious if there was a thought about a different BMP, or, I mean, infiltration's the goal here.
There's no solution if you're not adding material, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Okay.
we'll just have to see how it works out when it's completed and whether 72 hours happens or not. But I don't think there's a lot we can ask them to do to change it without causing bigger problems.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So is there any other questions that we have before we move forward? Go for it.
The removal of the invasives, is that a one-time thing, or will there be a management of continued removal?
Not a dedicated, focused invasive management plan. It's the second we stop, the roadside will add more. But in the sense that we do regularly mow, loam and seed, and maintain it, the invasives will have a much harder time reestablishing. They will be, being kept to seedling level if they do start off. So there will be, and we do have a statewide invasive plant management program. It depends on, I can't really speak to where and when that always happens, but we do go through and try and reduce the amount of invasive species. We do have the permits to do so, but it wouldn't be a dedicated ongoing process in this location, though a large amount of them simply won't be able to exist because they will have been removed and they will be regularly maintained.
Worst case scenario, if you remove for the test pit that's not meeting the 2-foot stormwater thing right now, if you break up the previous pervious layer, I guess I just wonder, let's say it's not infiltrating in 72 hours. I mean, obviously, if it's 73 hours, we're probably fine with that, right? But if it's 2 weeks, maybe not. So, but by that time, we'll have sort of not given a condition to meet that. I don't know, what happens then? Because then they'll have already spent all this money and all this work. And I guess I just wonder if we're I don't know what else. I don't have a solution to offer. So,
if it doesn't meet the 72 hour, we can't give them the certificate of compliance,
right.
Basically.
They'd have to propose a different stormwater BMP.
But it sounds like there isn't one that would not interfere with the riverfront standards.
Correct.
The fill standards.
Or they just can't raise the basin and still meet the standards.
Uh-huh.
So maybe there's another solution after, but maybe we just need to get to that point.
It's a problem for future us, I think.
Yeah, maybe. But
Maybe.
I mean, if the equations work out, right? If the math works, then it's infiltrating in 10 hours.
Yeah, it should work. Yep.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't setting ourselves or them up for something in the future that would be impossible to figure out. But it sounds like there are
I'm sorry, if it helps at all, it is a really shallow basin here as well. Just to point out, because of again, that delicate balance that we're trying to maintain, it is basically about 1.5 feet of water before it would reach the outlet control structure and then discharge.
So, yeah, perhaps it wouldn't sit quite as long. It's a pretty small basin
Yes, right,
too.
right.
Yeah.
Questions to the commission? Any questions from the public? So are there any conditions that we would apply to this, or we just issue them an order of conditions?
So probably many of the standard orders conditions would come through. Yeah, I don't have a draft of this one ready to review. I think some of them would probably be not as relevant, right? Like, are we looking for an invasive species monitoring plan? They essentially told us that's not part of the program.
But it sounds like it's in their general maintenance to mow the area and keep it under control. So that should take care of the problems.
It sounds like if you do have an O&M plan, it just didn't need to be signed. And
yep, that's true.
So there is an O&M plan that references care of invasive species.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
I think we want to strike any standard conditions we have too that might be in conflict, especially like the perpetuity conditions that might be in conflict with DOT's normal maintenance procedures too.
Yep.
And for everyone, it would have to be different about this one little piece.
Right.
Not a little piece, but just one piece of land.
I ask Mass DOT how much in a rush on this order are you? Could the commission take a look at a draft set of conditions in 2 weeks at their next meeting and issue it shortly after?
Oh, yes. And in fact, I think that would be a lovely idea. And then that way we could have a discussion. We could let you know if there's any problems with constructability, and then we wouldn't have to come back later and have a big back and forth. I think that would work out even better for everyone involved. That way we can all be sure and comfortable with the conditions, Mass DOT knowing that we can comply and we won't have any problems doing so. And you folks being sure that the conditions that you give us are addressing all of your concerns. So I think that works out beautifully.
That's very good. Thank you. All right. So then we just want to continue this to our next meeting.
I think it's a good idea. So we'll keep it on the agenda.
All right. So can I get a motion to continue to September 29th?
Move that we continue this to September 29th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much, folks.
Thank you very much, everyone.
May I just double check? Was it continued or did we close? Are we taking new evidence the next hearing?
No new evidence, but I think in order to keep it on the agenda, we'll keep the hearing open and close it at the next meeting.
Perfect. Sounds good to me. Just wanted to make sure I understood. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Bye.
Right. So our next public hearing, a notice of intent filed by Berkshire Design Group for a project at 35 Pleasant Street, Mass DEP file 151-0334.
Jeff Squire again from the Berkshire Design Group, here of properties, and Karen Perrier, who's here with us tonight. I think just a couple of updates with regards to the project, just addressing some of the requests. I think most significantly is probably we were able to get a technical engineering opinion from GZA. So that letter was provided. I think their summary is that they didn't anticipate being able to see that the dry wells or the integration on the site would provide causing issues with slope stability. So that was good to obtain that letter. We also, from our office, provided a letter just documenting compliance with the stormwater standards and mounding and some of the other, specific questions and regulations pertaining to infiltration structures. The plans have, minimally changed. We were able to move, as many of these dry wells outside of resource areas as far away from the slope as possible. So these along here are 70 plus feet, 75 feet. We're at 55 along this edge. So moved all of these further away. These on this side have sub drains, so aren't officially dry wells due to the proximity of groundwater. We clarified some of the connections and other information that had been requested of city engineer. That was via an email that we had received from Diane and had responded to those, many of which were just highlighted letter from documenting the geotechnical report. There were a couple of other just clarifications, comments, but we did provide her with a response to that email and the updated plan set that is in front of you, which shows all of these changes that were captured in that revision. So we adjusted plant locations just based on where those dry wells ended up. So just coordinating some of those final details. There were, the major clarification was these dry wells, a couple more details to ensure this is in full compliance with the stormwater standards. There are a couple of locations, as I noted, where there's a subdrain. So this coordinates that with the grading and drainage plan. I think otherwise, this is the most updated plan set that we've got, and hopefully addresses any of the other comments or questions that there were. So yeah,
Great. Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
So I think just a couple things of note. The dry wells are now, all the dry wells are more than 50 feet from the slope. So I think from my review and from Diane's review, which I can project, she sent to me right at the end of the day, that if the infiltration features are 50 feet from the slope, along with all of the details that Jeff has just described, they did a nice cross analysis with some of the other New England states infiltration BMPs, including Connecticut's. No, Rhode Island's was the one that had the 50 feet requirement. Is that right?
Yes.
I can go ahead.
Yeah, I can bring that up too. I've got it here.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this letter really provided the information, at least that I know Diane was really looking for, of more of a detailed description of this BMP and of the setback, and why they believed the amount it was set back was sufficient. So Diane's letter is here. Got it. All right. And she notes at the beginning here that the main area of concern that has continued was the infiltration's impact on the slope stability, and that here she says these two letters both state that as long as these dry wells are located at least 50 feet from the edge of the slope, especially because they are isolated in nature, sporadically, spaced across the site with some distance between them, the infiltration practices should not have an impact on slope stability.
Okay.
So that was where she ended on this. How is the commission? Where's the commission at with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point we got what we have been looking for that answers these questions. And I think that was the last one of the things that we.
I believe this was the last question, was that whether the 50 feet or if we could get everything back 50 feet, that would solve that stability question. Was there anything else that anyone could think of that was outstanding? I looked through the minutes and I thought that was it.
That's nice.
No, yeah.
I think there was, I think, at the last meeting, you weren't here and there was a question of your site visit and what do you call it? Outlet.
Yeah, I did get a chance to go. I can project some more images from that site visit. Elite site visit. So just in case commissioners haven't had a chance to go back there, it's a little hard to get a good sense of it. This is what we're looking at. So 20 feet does end about where the pipe is just resting, or 18 feet.
You go a little.
Yeah, totally. I was just trying to find the one with the good image of the whole structure. So this is at the top looking down. I believe that's where the pipe is. Hard to document it in a forested, slow, loose soil. I think, there's no doubt that the gully continues far beyond 18 feet. But I do think a filled-in gully is going to be an improvement over existing conditions here. The first 18 feet.
And we did discuss that past the 18 feet, it didn't have to be filled in as long as everything was stable at that point down below.
Yeah, I think that was the question, is whether it made any sense to fill it in beyond the 18 feet.
It's not going to be practical to reach much further, but as long as it's stable after the 18 foot with that erosion protection blanket that they're going to use.
Do you have any TRM proposed for beyond that point?
No, just because it's just hard to, we have to access it. It's all going to.
But you could still seed it, or
I mean, they could take some soil and spread
just to see if there's raw soil. That's because we have current erosion happening now, just to at least seed that area so that when the erosion stops happening, at least it has a chance to grow in and fill into something.
Sure. No, absolutely. Okay. And obviously some soil, loose soil is going to fill in down beyond that. They can't stop it hard at 8 feet. So there is going to be some additional soil that extends beyond there. But there's no issue with adding some additional seed cover.
Mm-hmm. Would we put that in as a condition?
Yeah, we could totally add that in as a condition.
Didn't Julie mention, because the area is so shaded, didn't you mention seed for shade, or was it sap things they were going to put in that area?
There was a New England seed mix proposed, correct? So
that was elsewhere on the slope, though.
It's along that entire anywhere that it's getting disturbed, right?
But did we think that had enough mixing it to be something that was going to?
Well, Julie asked for some shrubs or bushes.
Yeah, I can include that as a pre-construction requirement, maybe a specific
Do a dogwood or something that would be.
Yeah, maybe we can include a shrub.
Like some plugs in the blanket.
A planting plan, right. The TRM. She wanted them planted within the TRM, right?
Planted in there, sure. We could do some,
They would be similar.
Yeah. And maybe we could see the actual seed mix to ensure it's shade tolerant enough.
Sure. Yeah.
As part of the pre-construction. Okay.
Sure.
Dispatch commissioner car.
Are there any other concerns that we have? Any concerns from the public? It's
Mine.
Are we comfortable moving forward with this?
And I do have a draft. I have a draft set of conditions
Okay.
for us to start discussing
Our standard conditions.
and some specific ones that have come along.
So let's go through that then.
Should you quickly do this first before you issue it? Is that how that
Yes.
goes? Okay, great. All right. Okay, so I've did my best to highlight some elements that are specific to this project. This first set of general conditions, I'll move slowly in case the applicant wants to take a look at these simultaneously.
And maybe we could focus on the special.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is the standard ones, right?
These are the standard ones. Yep. This is all pretty standard. Yep. Okay. So this is a specific, these ones are specific. A lot of these are coming out of our conversations. This first one, any significant changes to the stormwater groundwater management system, including the addition of foundation drains or sump pumps, must be reviewed as an amendment to this order of conditions. So
that's a request from Julie.
yeah, and that's been confirmed throughout this process that there is not to be foundation drains or sump pumps included as part of the build. So if they end up being added later on, the commission will review those as an amendment to the order.
You're good with that, right?
Yeah. Great. The next that all dry wells must be constructed at least 10 feet from building footings. That's part of the building code, but just to include that in here. Okay. Coming down into the pre-construction conditions. So additional pre-construction meetings shall be held a minimum of 5 days before each subsequent phase of construction. So typically we just have one pre-con meeting, but we know this project is going to have many phases. So we'll do a pre-con meeting before each phase. Before the first phase, we'll receive all of these things, photographs, the performance bond. Do not think we've set them out yet. Where are we at with that?
Sent that proposal over to Diane about 3:30, so I think she said she was gonna have it, but I'm not sure if she got to it or not.
Let's see.
It was based on 400,000.
Not sure. Was I maybe not included in that one?
No, it was just an email she sent me that I replied to directly. I can send it to you now if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure.
Does it have the itemized?
It does.
Okay, fabulous.
Looks like we're pretty clear on the mix, except we don't have the plugs in there.
Yeah.
Yep. Planning plan for the TRM.
But does seed mix and plugs, seed mix to be spread and plugs
Yep. Planning plan including the shade tolerant seed mix
and shrub.
and shrub plugs.
Sure.
Maybe we just need a planning plan for the slope.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
have a plan for the whole upper section.
Right, we do, yep. The slope and gully. Did you have a thought, Commissioner Mitchell?
No.
All right, final set of construction drawings, that's standard. We'll come back to this performance bond. I'll just keep a note there.
I just sent that to you. So you should
Okay.
have it. Sure.
So, well, okay. Gotcha. Okay. She has not responded to you, correct?
Not to that one, no.
Okay, all right. So we have typically, Diane clarified for me that typically, the applicant proposes the stormwater bond amount and then she'll review it to make sure it's sufficient. So if we'll leave that as an open for Diane's confirmation in the order. Okay. Maybe we already have, are you expecting this sequencing plan to split up further? Is the phase plan likely to change?
I don't think at this time, I think phase one.
If anything, it would shrink. If anything,
Okay.
it would be combined into phases. I believe it's 3 and 4 would get combined into one, but it wouldn't be broken out further into more.
Okay. So then maybe that's not necessary as a pre-con condition because we have it now. Okay. Proof of recording of the order, that's typical. Okay. The updated operations and maintenance plan for the stormwater management structures. And I think we want this signed now, which I think is it already
is
signed?
included. Well,
Okay.
the operation and maintenance plan does include all of those features and gutters and downspouts and all of that stuff
Yeah.
now, so.
Okay. I'm gonna leave that in there just because we typically have that as one of our pre-con conditions, so it'll just carry over from the NOI. All the contact information. Statement. Okay. All right. Now we're getting into the rest of the pre-con meeting requirements. I thought maybe we wanted to cut this one. Do we want the limits of the riverfront area? Currently they're spray painted onto the pavement.
Right.
If you've been to the site,
Sure, definitely.
pavement's going to be hauled out. It's a little, I feel like the riverfront area is a little different than a wetland, than a buffer zone of a wetland. What do you guys think?
I'm just trying to read it.
But it was kind of there for informational purposes during the phase that we're at, but going forward, it's probably not something that needs to be still defined.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, practically speaking, it's gonna be hard to keep that delineated
Correct,
in the
yes.
active construction zone.
Correct.
Right.
Some of it has homes going right.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm
Right.
not sure it serves any real purpose
Right.
at this point.
Do we have signage or boundary markers for riverfront and slope?
I don't think it's needed for this one because the slope is the riverfront extends beyond the slope, but in terms of, stopping impact closer to the river than we're permitting, the slope is going to serve as a really natural barrier for that.
And one of the planning board's requests was to put some signage along there, just indicating, steep slopes beyond, no trespassing, to that effect, just to keep for public safety. So there are some of those that got wrapped into the plan.
Okay.
I mean, I wonder if any signs just to keep people from like throwing trash back there. Like
Yeah,
like you had.
Well, we're gonna have no dumping.
right. There'll be no dumping is a in perpetuity condition of the order for sure.
Right, but
Something in the homeowners.
some signage that is for people walking around behind the buildings.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the only people gonna be back there are the residents.
Yeah, this is a private street, so let's hope that
The
residents won't be throwing trash in their own
Well,
backyard.
as a resident with a 100-year-old house that has about several tons of trash that have been thrown over the hillside over the last 100 years, I can testify that homeowners do throw trash over their own hillside.
And sometimes brush. So maybe I can bring that to planning board. It could be incorporated in their signage to not like
Yeah, it
steep
doesn't have
slope.
to be fancy, but like something that says preserve or do not dump, preserve. Or something.
Yeah, and rule into the planning board's sign request.
Do you know what they've proposed? Are they?
Really, it was just the sign that said steep slope. They were more concerned with somebody walking back there and unbeknownst to them, it's a steep drop and they fall. So I think if we could add something to the bottom of that sign or something that, no dumping or along those lines, hopefully it could be accomplish both goals.
Yeah.
Sure.
No dumping. Yeah, trash or yard waste.
Yeah, that's fine. If we do something like that and, caution steep slope and add it to the bottom of that, that would be ideal.
Great, awesome.
Trash or brush.
Trash or brush. Great. I'll bring that to them tomorrow. Good thought. This one is another specific condition that we are, typically we have our infiltration basins staked out. These are a ton of little dry wells, but I think given the concern of the slope to have them staked out prior to our first pre-con meeting, or the ones that are in the relevant phase, so that we can just confirm their distance to the slope. Does that sound good? Great. So I guess I should say all dry wells, well, it'll refer to the phase.
Sure.
As relevant. Okay, this is typical. The permittee's environmental monitor for the to monitor all area within just wetland resource areas, the riverfront here, and also to monitor your erosion and sediment controls. You'll nominate someone, you'll send me their credentials, we'll go from there.
Yep.
Excellent. Everything's standard in here during construction ones. There.
We dealing with any invasives once they do the slope? Is there any kind of invasive management or?
That was above. It was one of the conditions of that.
Yeah, an invasive management plan. I think we don't want them going down the slope to do an invasive treatment. Have you identified invasive species at the top of this in the existing degraded area?
Yeah, I think primarily if there's any, it's probably right along the top of that existing slope now where there's sun, and there isn't too much once you get into that forest.
It's a shaded area.
Yeah, but yeah, certainly would remove anything on top of that slope. And obviously the yard space and the landscape space after that is going to be maintained, so.
Correct.
Okay, and then specific things for this, for post-construction is the inclusion of the operations and maintenance requirements within the homeowners association bylaw. So that are the operations and maintenance, specifically the concern was regarding the porous asphalt, that the annual vacuuming occurs. And this was a note, and I'm obviously, of course, open to the commission's suggestion here. If you want to report back out to the commission on the stormwater BMPs, if we think that's excessive, if we just want a record that we could access.
A report back out from who?
From the operations and maintenance contractor.
After the project.
Yeah, as like an in perpetuity.
Like an ongoing report.
This kind of goes with it here. Operations and maintenance log submitted. So by the end of each calendar year, a maintenance log shall be submitted describing the O&M tasks. This is really the reason I thought it may be applicable here, again, open to the commission's discretion, but was just that if the drive doesn't get vacuumed, it will stop functioning as a stormwater BMP.
But let number 54 just roll that up and take care of it. At the year end.
Yeah, 54 that you have highlighted.
Yeah.
Just have that be the one that is the feedback that the maintenance got done for the vacuuming.
As opposed to you were highlighting something higher up.
Oh yeah, this is these I wrote these to kind of go together, right? So a copy of a copy of the homeowners association bylaw.
That's good, right?
We want the bylaw to include the full detailed operations and maintenance requirements, which will include the annual reporting requirement. This should say, right? If we're keeping 54,
which we should keep 54
for all stormwater systems present on the site, including but not limited to, and then that's the list of the pieces.
I'm good with that.
And then this was another question: the name, contact information, and signed contract of the O&M contractor.
Because this is a post-construction.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be something that's just back to the homeowners association, because once we turn that over, they could be hiring someone different every single year.
Right.
That could be part of the number 54 reporting.
That's what I was going to suggest, is that it could be part of that the the contractor that did the work needs to be included on that.
Right.
As-
And would do the reporting, the maintenance log reporting. Yeah, this would really be just for the first, however long the contract is, for the first year, for the first 5 years.
Okay,
Well, do we want to put any condition that says if the contractor changes, we get told who it is?
Sure. A maintenance log, shall be submitted.
but if we're getting a report at the end of the year,
But then if we don't get the report, we could say, hey, where's the report? If we don't know who it is, we don't know who to pay.
I think your main point of contact should always be the association. And we see that the association of this size will be, professionally managed, and that's your main point of contact, because they could be going to someone different, every single year.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yes, we don't. Do we want to specify shall be submitted by the operations maintenance contractor? It's kind of, I guess it can be submitted, it could be written by them and then submitted by the
submitted by the
homeowners
homeowners
association.
association would be the, like, said the contact, would that be the homeowners association?
Okay.
Should we say the name, contact info for the homeowners association instead of for the contractor? I don't know if that's typical.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I wonder almost, because you're wondering if ongoing, like if we should include it under the operations and maintenance log submitted by the end of each calendar year. A maintenance log shall be submitted to the Conservation Commission describing the O&M tasks completed in the preceding year.
By the contractor or the homeowners association?
Yeah.
Something.
Preferably by either or, because they may choose to
Right.
divvy those tasks up. It might not be one particular contract.
Right.
And I'll be going to planning board tomorrow, as I said, to
Okay.
sort of make sure that they understand all of these things, because they're also writing conditions that'll be included in the homeowners association bylaw.
Okay.
So do we need to say anything about no sand? Or is that back over to?
So that is, it's in the operations and maintenance plan.
That,
That you
Not
can
just
see
sand.
sand.
Oh, no,
on the
sand.
place
Oh,
as
yes.
well.
We
Oh,
have,
yeah.
we have
Yeah.
that there already.
yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So do we take E out then?
Yeah, maybe we do. If we're getting a report every year
Sure.
anyway, someone has to do the work to
Right,
get us
that's
the
right.
report,
So-
right?
So take E out.
I think also that dumping's prohibited down the slope will be something that we'll want in the bylaw as well. The other thought I'm just having right now, this is also, again, not for our order, but for the bylaws, that way back at the beginning of this hearing, we talked about the dark skies compliant lighting operations, something in the bylaw ensuring that
All
the dark,
rear lights behind those units would have, yep.
Yeah.
You can sort of front.
that the sconces remain compliant with the dark sky specifications.
And including the lumens and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll pull back up those specifications that James Lowenthal provided the commission.
Everything on the rear of the building is just information, but was changed to pecan. So everything just down like that. So.
Great, awesome. Awesome. Okay, so for planning board, well, I guess let's stay on this for a second. Any conditions that we're missing here? We'll have attachment C, that's also a stormwater permit. And
Okay.
I think a lot of these conditions are part of the stormwater permit. Their condition, I think I will, I don't know, I think I will just include attachment C as a stormwater permit that like states that it is a permit. and then
Okay.
refer back to attachment B for the conditions that condition the permit. Cassie, there's a lot of repeating between attachment B and C
Okay.
in previous orders, like many of the conditions in attachment B associated with the NOI are replicated
We
associated with
should,
stormwater
we
permit.
should do that.
I think it's simpler to have one document of
Yes.
conditions.
Agree. Simpler.
Any other conditions that we? Out about?
One of the really big issues is, like we've been talking about operation and maintenance with the porous pavement. The other thing is if the pavement if it ever gets repaved, it's gotta be porous pavement going back, right?
Yeah.
So, in perpetuity conditions to that effect, maybe if it is going to be repaved, that we would like, the drawings presented to us for approval in
Okay.
advance so that we can confirm it would be
Makes sense.
porous pavement, how it will be done.
What do you call, is it like the main drive? Is there a?
Yeah, the main access.
Maybe when the main access drive?
If/when.
Yeah.
At such time.
That's what is the lifespan on porous asphalt? It's like,
I mean, it's
50
not
years?
dissimilar. Yeah, I mean, it's not dissimilar from regular asphalt.
you want to say, it must be paved with porous asphalt, or you want to say the drawings?
Well, the system depends on it being
Right.
porous, so
Yep.
And if it's not porous, we need a holding spot.
Right.
which is not gonna make sense.
And then something about coming before the commission prior to that?
Yep.
Okay. Construction document of the repavement. I think typically called. Say again.
I was the repavement contract or something that was
Okay.
specified.
Submitted to the commission or review and approve. Next. All right. And those will get recorded with the COC. So those conditions will remain, hopefully. Everyone. And we'll put that in the homeowners association bylaw too. So, the signage for the planning board regarding dumping. Drive a complete list, and then the so dumping in the bylaw, we'll include a line about dumping down the slope in the bylaw. Dark skies compliant. Lighting. The operations and maintenance plan. Repaving with porous. And the annual reporting of the operations and maintenance plan.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it. We have to wait
For the city
to
engineer.
ratify this until we have Diane.
I don't think so.
About.
No, I mean, you guys issue orders sometimes and then I go and write them afterwards. So I think you can vote on this order and then, knowing that I'll put it together and Julie will see it before it's sent off. And after the order is issued, you'll have 21 days, or I have 21 days to write the order. 10 days, there's a 10-day appeal period, after which I recommend filing it with the registry of deeds. Right?
Sounds good.
Are you ready?
We're good. We're good.
Motion to approve the stormwater permit with conditions as noted.
In order of condition.
In order of conditions as noted. So I have to get more specific than
The issue and order conditions.
For 151-334,
oh, so we're not issuing the stormwater permit.
we're issuing an order of conditions, which will include a stormwater permit.
Stormwater.
Okay. That's my first try. Here it is. So,
All right.
Doing great. Do you want to state it again?
okay, motion to issue order of conditions and stormwater permit for 35 Pleasant Street with the conditions as noted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We get all the input and feedback.
Very much.
We'll make it's tomorrow for,
Planning board
Planning
meets
board.
tomorrow. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. And so I have 21 days to write this order. I will do it faster than that because I know they're moving.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you to the commission for all of your work on this project.
Just sitting here answering the question.
There's been on
this was a challenging project. For sure.
Really?
All right.
Well, and that's still ongoing, right?
All right, Jay, what's our next one?
Well, next public hearing is D, letter D for us. A abbreviated notice of resource area delineation filed by Fleetwood Environmental on behalf of Sovereign Builders. And this is parcel 18 at Torrey Street and 14 Pine Hill Road. Mass DEP file 151-0336.
All right, so where we left this was we issued an RFP looking for a peer reviewer to do kind of an unconventional peer review, not really of the flags, but just of the remainder of the site. This is a large site that we know has been heavily disturbed. And we were looking for someone who could come out and essentially ensure that nothing was missed in this process.
We felt that the flagging was acceptable that we reviewed, so it's the areas that we didn't look at that we don't know about.
Yeah. Yep, that was where we left it. And so we did just receive one peer review. This was kind of an unconventional peer review. I wasn't surprised. We only received one. And that was from Steve Riverty, who the commission's worked with before. And this is his scope. It comes in, where is it? It comes in at 36. Thank you for your fast math. 26 or 36, depending on whether or not there's an optional follow-up review and report. Probably if he finds nothing, there won't be, but if he finds something, there will be. So 26 to 36. And I asked Steve, just because I felt like this scope didn't have a ton of details. I just asked him to speak to some of his specific experience working with disturbed areas. So I'll just read you what he wrote. He just sent me a quick email casually, but he said, yeah, so he's worked with a lot of sites where folks have filled a wetland. He said, in short, yes, lots of small ones where someone's filled a wetland, and I had to figure out where it was by digging through the soil, in some cases getting an excavator out there to find old wetland horizons. I have a lot of soil science experience evaluating soil profiles and seeing what is natural versus altered. For a relevant recent large project, he's involved in the Fall Farm project in Sunderland. A landowner filled and excavated literally acres of wetlands and streams to build and expand an existing farm. It's caught by the Conservation Commission. DP took it over. He had to investigate the site through a comparison of the old aerials and topo to recent aerials and topo to see where the grade changes had happened and do in situ investigations to find where the wetland was, in some cases filled, in some cases excavated. It's like it's been in the news. So I don't know if folks have followed that project. And he had developed the restoration plan for that property. He says what a smaller version is what I envision here. Compare the GIS data and site plans. Look in the field to see what was obviously modified. Then dig in, see what the soils say. Is it wet now, but only because they lowered the grade to wetland elevation, or did they dig out a wetland straight up? And then he says that, you know, it's possible his report will include recommendations for a further detailed study if there are complex nuances that he can address under the scope. It seems like a good place to start. We don't have a particular reason to think that anything was missed other than
No,
that this site.
it's just such a huge site that we could really see some of the areas that we were walking past, and you climbed in the woods, we almost lost you. So, so I think it's
Yep.
Did the time frame run out for anyone else to come back with a?
It did, yeah. Oh, yeah. And just to state for the public record, I did put it out to, like, I believe 7 or 8 different wetland scientists. Some that Commissioner Busa, Chair Busa had said she knew from her personal experience were particularly experienced in working with filled wetland sites. So certainly we exceeded the 3 in terms of this RFP scope.
Okay.
So the 26 to 36, was that 1,000 or hours?
That's $2,600 to $3,600, depending on whether or not the follow-up review and report is an extra 1,000.
Got it.
And so again, to state for the record for the community, we'll be looking for that from the applicant. We'll provide those funds to the city. Those will be held in escrow. And then this peer reviewer will work for the commission, and we will pay the peer reviewer from those funds held by the city.
Go for it.
So we need a motion probably to pursue Goddard Consulting for this.
That'd be great.
Motion to accept the proposal of Goddard Consulting for the peer review that we're requesting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Did he say a time frame in this? Not
I don't think we did.
I don't see it, that's all.
I'll ask them what his time frame is.
Sure.
Yep.
You know, the applicant may have that question.
And so just to restate, we're going to move on from this agenda item, but for the public so we're just reviewing the wetland delineation here. That's all the commission has in front of it for Torrey Street.
So I have a question, just of understanding. So what you're saying, what I understood you to say is that you're still determining what part of the land in the back to be developed could be wetlands, could have been. And, you know, maybe now it looks as if it's not, but at some point it actually was, or vice versa.
Yeah, do you want to speak to that?
Well, no, it's really, they're looking for delineation so that when they propose a project, they can go back to that delineation, decide where they're going to place things and whether they're going to be in wetland areas or not, or in buffer zones and things like that.
I understand that, but we did have a little meeting with the builder, and he was assuring people in particular on the lower end of Pine Hill, saying that all that land in back of particular parcels were guaranteed to be written off as conservation.
Yeah, so we don't have that in front of us, so we don't know.
Right, so I'm just asking that question. What you're saying is that's not even determined yet.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
not determined
That
yet.
has not been determined, and yet he's indicated to us that is a go. And that no one needs to be concerned with anything because it's already been approved. So what I'm just hearing what you just said, that's not true.
Yeah, so the commission is only currently reviewing this wetland delineation. The little flags are where the applicant is saying the wetlands are, and the commission is confirming that.
And is that only off of Torrey, like where those flags are on Torrey
Or behind Pine Hill.
or
There's,
behind
there's
Pine
two,
Hill?
there's two
I
different
suppose we
sites.
could walk through.
Yeah, so Pine Hill's right here, right?
Yeah,
And these are the lots on the even numbered side of Pine Hill.
Yes.
Yes. So these are where the wetlands are, as delineated. He did not extend the delineation onto the private parcels as they come down here. He exclusively delineated, Sovereign Builders' land through here.
Is what he's looking at, you know,
Mhm.
is what he's saying.
I mean, is he saying that all the land that's not delineated as wetland on this map is
Is under.
in conservation? zone?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He said that
He's saying
it's all
he's
protected
paying for that land.
to stay.
To be a CR?
It probably
There are development proposals that
It could
have
be
been, are hypothetical at this point, as far as this commission is concerned. So that's,
Right, but I'm just,
This is a very, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
interject, but it's a
Yeah.
very delicate, word delicate is wetlands. And I know it's just, I've been there for 30 years.
what he was saying that
And
it's
it's
all
just
been
there's a
ignored.
stream going through our, not our property, right behind our property that collects on Torrey,
Mhm.
which is, you've been out there, I think. You said.
Yeah.
I've talked with you. So I know it's just, it's a delicate topic because we're trying to preserve what's there. I know that the development is going further back. Is that what you're saying? Is that?
so we don't know yet because it hasn't been proposed in front of the commission
I'm
yet.
saying what he.
Right. He already said
in
it.
the meeting that it was a go, and what you folks just said, you're still determining what is wet and what could have been and what is actual.
Well, that's exciting to hear because
So that's
there's
my.
a lot involved in the process. Like we
The other,
expected.
excuse me, Chris.
Sure thing.
One other quick one. We, at the same meeting, he indicated something about, a meeting in Northampton, water, right?
Sewage.
Sewage?
Yeah.
So my husband called Northampton to see when that meeting was, and they said, we have no idea of a meeting. We have not even any clue as to what has
We
been.
wouldn't have any idea. We're really, our section
know.
is that little band of Easthampton, which is
Yeah.
not that little, but so we don't know what.
No, I
Northampton's up to.
understand, yeah.
But isn't the Northampton Conservation Commission reviewing the wetlands on
Yeah,
their side?
they'll review the wetlands on their
Right.
side as well.
On their
Yeah,
side, we don't
not-
know if you've been had a
not
meeting. about it
sewer.
yet.
Right, according to, the sewer, they don't even know anything of it, so.
A very, very delicate topic right now. I'm not saying it's my property way back behind our parcel, but you're dealing with water from Northampton and dealing with sewage treatment behind our street. So they're diverting sewage on Pine Hill and they're getting their water from Hamp because there's no.
Right,
sewer.
so they're asking
So they're- yeah, that's why
Easthampton to
14's
supply the
involved.
sewer for Northampton development.
Right, so we're,
Is what's happening.
that's again.
Again, you'll get a chance, once this is approved
Right.
or not approved.
Yes.
If it is approved, you'll get a
Right.
chance to,
We're just talking, and I don't really bring that up right now, but it's a complicated, very complicated. Okay, she's not doing it.
So just for my own clarification, the flags that you're referring to are just in this, like along the stream here. Because I know there are flags like throughout the whole property and that's not necessarily
Yeah,
what's being reviewed.
we thought some of those were markers that they were using to do the survey. Because they had rather this initials on them, so we thought that was a surveying company that did the survey.
Right.
I believe that this series, if you are back in that area, not that I'm suggesting anyone trespass on private property, but so these are marked as the like 100 flag, and they have the numbers written on them.
Oh, really?
So along the stream, the wetlands are marked as wetland 2-125-126 on one side, and then marked as wetland 2- starting in the 200 range on the other side. And then the other wetland that's in Easthampton is the 7, I think it was the 7 range.
So
and
it's
that-
just a smaller little,
Parcel.
Yeah.
smaller
Yeah,
little
and
section.
that one's W7, 100 on one side, 200 on the other side.
And where is that in the context of the whole map?
Yeah.
itself?
So this one is back beyond Pine Hill, over off of behind the houses on Loudville Road.
Yeah.
So down behind on Easthampton's Loudville Road. This is Northampton Loudville Road. Too.
Yes, well, it gets confusing because Loudville's.
Yeah.
both.
Town lines are all over.
The town lines are all over the place. Yeah. So down by like 287. It's all the way over here. Does that give some context? Yeah.
Oh,
The developer also told us that that other area that you had just mentioned, he's gonna be putting homes in that, or someone is gonna be putting homes in that area. And it was, do you remember the number?
10.
It was 10 homes were going in there, so 40 in that development. 10 homes in this other development, all coming to Pine Hill Road. Northampton gets, nature walks. Easthampton gets Northampton sewage.
Again, we don't have a project in front of us.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
No, just what the builder had told us.
Yeah.
And no word as to where those 10 home developments are going to leach their sewage. Is that coming into Pine Hill Road too? Furthermore,
yeah.
you told us that the, what do you call it, pumping station near Clark Lane was capped off. Yet people down the street were offered this opportunity to have this sewer line come through their property. It would have to go down there, but he told us it's capped off, so you can't use it. That's why we can only use the upper line. I mean, the stories we got were very confusing and we have a lot of questions.
Totally understandable. And unfortunately, the Conservation Commission doesn't have most of the answers you're looking for.
And we understand that.
If the sewer line,
To know what we're being told.
yeah.
Right.
You'll get another shot at us if the project is proposed.
So if a sewer line, the Conservation Commission doesn't approve this, doesn't control where the sewage travels. If the sewage line is proposed to cut through a wetland, it will come in front of the Conservation Commission with regards to the wetland impacts. Or if any of the houses are constructed within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland or proposed to be constructed within 100 feet or within 200 feet of a perennial stream, which this section of what becomes the Hannah Brook here is a perennial stream in Easthampton.
can I ask a question? I think the proposal for the construction is, I think then technically in Northampton.
So then if it's within Northampton's jurisdictional area of resource areas, which these are state laws, so it's the same numbers, the 200 feet of a perennial stream or 100 feet of a wetland buffer, then the Northampton Conservation Commission will review it.
Even if the wetland is Easthampton.
The wetlands Easthampton and the development is in Northampton, but it's not within that 100 or 200 feet of resource area. There wouldn't be anything for us to review, even if they did bring it to Easthampton.
If a Northampton development, like if a development was right here.
To the right,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just above that space. Yeah,
Right,
right,
so
there where your cursor is.
So these like outer bubbles, if you see these like bulbous areas, that's our jurisdictional area.
Right.
So if they're within here, this little jurisdiction, well, I guess it's kind of hard to imagine. Like, I guess it would be like, this is our wetland, and if they're impacting here,
Right.
perhaps we would review it. Do you know?
I don't know. It would be a joint.
We would
Project,
probably
I'm sure,
both review it.
yes.
Yeah, both commissions.
Yes.
Right.
And that's, I know you all were here earlier, like Route 5, the shared use path, Northampton is simultaneously reviewing that one. So it's not uncommon that we have projects that cross town lines and both conservation commissions review them.
Oh, that was really my question, but I get it in the conservation. What about like in sewer?
Yeah.
To your knowledge, and I know that this isn't your department, but has Easthampton ever taken in sewage from another city?
We're taking sewage from Southampton. Yeah.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, over on Route 10, I think that's true. But this is, it's a Department of Public Works question.
I don't want to cut everybody short, but we do have another public hearing to go to tonight. People have been patient all evening, so.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Good luck getting your
Good point. Sorry. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Well
thanks.
done.
Thank you.
Very.
So just want to say, I can't believe at 8 tonight.
Okay,
Thank you for letting us know.
we'll have to approve that.
Commissioner Carley.
All right, it's a public hearing day.
Last public hearing is a request for determination of applicability by filed by Eric LaPrade at 126 Laudville Street. Ludfield, sorry. Been a long night. Map 113, lot 8, for 2 carports in buffer zone.
Thank you all for coming and thank you for waiting. So the commission may remember this project from, or this site from earlier conversations regarding some materials in the buffer zone. So these are 2 carports that the applicant is hoping to leave in the buffer zone. So let me pull it up on Mass Mapper just so we can orient.
So this was the site visit last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week.
I was already out of town. Yeah. I read the report.
Carl and I, Commissioner Weeks and I were there. And I guess I'll just start by saying, this has been an open enforcement discussion regarding materials in the buffer zone. And we saw when we were out there, the materials were removed from the buffer zone. Besides for these 2 carports, which they're seeking approval to remain where they currently are. Sorry for the turnedness. There was a good way to
Rotate those darn things.
automatically, yeah. So this was an area where there was previously quite a bit of materials. There were materials back here. We could review old photos, but I think you can probably trust us to say that there was a lot of materials. Those materials aren't there anymore. I know Eric and Kelly use and your children use the materials for various kinds of projects. And so the desire with the carports is to have just additional storage. Do you want to tell the commission what the plan is for the walls of the carports?
So the plan is doing, sheet metal walls. We just haven't done anything yet because, they're not really easy to move, but they're harder to move if the walls are there. So if they can stay where they are, then the walls will go up. I guess that was kind of the thought.
And they're about 30 feet from, both of them are about 30 feet from the dingle, from the intermittent stream and associated small BBW back there. So this is where they are. Here's one of them, right? And where's the other one? Oh no, is that a different? Can you tell?
That might be
The neighbors.
House. No, we're still within your property here. There's the new construction, right? This is your new building.
That's our old.
That's our.
Oh, it's your old building. Okay.
Is that an old picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
2023. Are the carports newer than 2023?
No, actually the 2 carports are right behind the red roof.
Oh, they're right here.
Yes.
Okay, so they've moved. Okay,
That
gotcha.
moved when we put up the other,
The other piece.
last year.
Okay. So this is the intermittent stream back here. I could find some photos of it.
Where would they be on there now? Can you point there, person?
Yeah, or I can show you here. There. I think this is a pretty accurate. This is where the stream is. This is the hand drawn. We're flipped here.
Yeah.
I did take a tape measure to it. They are both about 30 feet from the bank there.
So the request is to leave them where they are, correct? So it means that we're not digging any holes or doing anything to add footings or anything like that. It's just gonna stay the way they are. This was in the 100-year floodplain. Was that something?
Wasn't in borderline subject to flooding.
Nothing
Yep.
like that.
Just in the buffer zone of an intermittent stream and potentially associated BBW.
So there is no disturbance going forward at this point, correct?
Right, yeah, there was, they just sit on their own framework.
Yeah, there's no concrete pad or anything that they're on.
Is it me? It might leach? I'm sorry, is there anything in them that might leach into the water?
I wouldn't really think so. I mean, I guess there's a, couple of riding lawnmowers, but everything else is no fluids or anything of that sort. There's no like barrels. Well, I mean, you can see the blue barrels in there, but the tops are cut open and they have pipe and materials inside of them. So there's no liquids in there.
And these are like lawnmowers you actively use. They're not jumped ones that.
They're not jump ones. They're ones that, long story short, they're like parts and yeah. Tend to try to keep the old ones running just because they seem like they just keep fixing them.
I guess my question is whether there's gas and oil in them that might, if it rusts out or something.
There's typically no gas in them once we park them like that. The oil is in them all the time, but it's it's an engine that pretty difficult for it to rot out, I guess, to say.
Other questions about it? Any conditions that we want to consider if we move forward with this?
I think a condition could be, I think the sidings are maybe a good idea to keep the materials contained.
Dry.
And dry.
The sheet
metal sidings. And then maybe just a condition, because I imagine the commission is perhaps ready to close out the enforcement action as well, that just a condition that materials stay out of the buffer zone beyond the carports.
Okay.
And could there just be a condition that any corroding liquid materials wouldn't be stored?
Yeah, because you have an indoor storage area as well, correct?
So no storage of corrosive materials.
Yeah.
You had mentioned about, no digging or additional.
Well, they don't require any new footings or anything. It's already there in place. So they're not going to be adding new footings. There's no excavating, nothing you have to protect the dingles from if there's no excavating.
So no new or additional work except for.
Right, no ground disturbance.
No ground disturbance, we should say.
Okay.
Then.
In
I'll
the
get it
picture.
There is not.
I think I saw not being in
There is
the
not.
picture.
It's not.
Yeah. Not, the pictures.
You want to cut it down, you can. The knotweed right there. This is the best time of year to treat it too. If you treat it with a little herbicide, you can do home application of herbicide. The thing that's flowering at the bottom of this picture,
It will spread all over your.
I do think we have quite a bit.
yeah. If you buy it, you can do home treatment of herbicides with herbicides of knotweed. This time of year is the best time because it's pulling it back. It's flowered and then it's pulling it back into the root system.
Still doesn't feel it.
Yeah, start learning to like looking at that plant because the whole world is going to get covered that.
I'll have to look at it when I get home to see what it really is.
Okay, so a condition, no storage of corrosive materials, no ground disturbance permitted, by this decision, and, materials to remain, all materials within the buffer zone to remain within the carports. Except for like true temporary uses, like day to day.
Do you have a form written up?
I do, yeah.
So the
There
motion,
should be a
okay.
DOA.
Okay. I'll move to, are we ready?
Yep, go for it.
I'll move to issue a negative determination, type 3, the work described in the request is within buffer zone as defined in the regulations, but will not alter an area subject to jurisdiction of the act. Therefore, said work does not require filing a notice of intent subject to the following conditions. And those are the things we just discussed.
So second,
Second,
all in favor,
I
motion carries.
also like to make a motion that Dan Patrick's do all those pharmaceutical ads or
So that you're good to leave them. So that's what that meant. Yeah.
It sounds
So,
bad. Negative determination sounds bad, but that's.
but it's good. It's
not
negative
bad.
determination for having to take further steps.
It is a little confusing.
So I'll write up those conditions unless you want to.
Not really.
Okay, great. Okay. You can do some signs. Yep. So the conditions are no storage of corrosive materials, no ground disturbance permitted, within, as part of this decision. And then, yeah, all the materials to remain within all materials within the buffer zones to remain within the carports. And I think the metal siding is a great way to do that.
Yep.
Yeah. But that, I think we'll leave it there. And can I invite the commission to just, I don't know if you actually have to, maybe just to acknowledge that we're closing out that enforcement action on our agenda.
motion to close the enforcement action on 122.
Is there a second?
Second. Jinx.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Great.
carries.
Awesome. All right, so I'll send you the DOA for your records. I'll send it over to VP and I'll keep it on file for us as well.
All right, great.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, much obliged.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
And your
Thanks for-
patience tonight.
Sure. It's very interesting.
Yeah, okay. Bring your friend. You might be out there.
Might be back out, coming back here. Yeah, no worries. Y'all, nice job. Good job. Okay, open space updates.
We almost closed. Well, no, we closed 2. We almost closed the third one.
But it's
We're
really
really close.
Yes.
Yeah.
fast.
Just close it for the noise. You're
Okay,
welcome.
sorry.
No, all good. All good.
Can I ask you a question? There's an agenda item that's like way at the end that I was interested in. If you go through like each of the agenda items.
We'll do open space
We'll
next.
probably skip a lot of items though.
If there's an item under active projects that you'd like to speak on, you're welcome. We can talk about it.
Okay.
You,
So one of the questions to that. But I don't know if you're gonna go that far, department that him and him.
oh yeah.
Oh, yes. It's one of our favorites.
I don't have any updates on it though. So thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Commissioner Carr. Yeah, I don't have any updates on it, but I guess one update the commission's already heard, but you might not have, is that the restoration area is growing in really nicely. There's a ton of little oak seedlings that have popped up, not ones they planted, and most of their right. Well, most of their
okay.
sycamore whips have leafed out this year, and then a ton of little baby oaks. So
Okay.
a good sign that the restoration area is working. Yeah. Okay, but on open space updates, we don't have too much for you. I do have some new signage to look at, so to say. Orkowski, I guess I'll just tell you that the flyers I posted around the trails have been working. I've been getting Google form responses
Oh, wow.
of interested parties, which is great. So when I have a formal update for you all, I will share it. Thank you.
Yep, good night.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with a vague open space update, which is that the city's potentially considering an acquisition right now, but there may be more updates for you in the future. We'll see how things go. Very exciting. All right, and for the logo, we've got two final contenders. So fun. One with the star being shiny, one without it.
Did you change it?
Star lights up.
Oh, okay. Oh, I can see those little, I got a reflection right there. I can see the little things.
And we can ask for other changes, but I have some updates now from the sign making process that we can discuss too. Have fun. So a cost estimate from our for a single sided 36 by 36. They want to make it out of high density urethane. Yeah.
HEPT.
Yep.
So
great.
That is weatherproof.
They recommend it instead of wood for durability. So a sign that's 3 feet by 3 feet would be on one side would be $2,300. A cost estimate for a single sided. If we want to make it only 2 by 2, it's only $1,400. And the estimate, if we want it to be double sided, which I kind of think we do, multiplies it by 1.8. So almost doubles it, but a little bit less because you're not paying for the actual material.
Material's expensive. It does last forever.
Who are these, where was this from?
This is the Belmead Sign Group. They're a sign group that we were recommended to use. We could shop around if we feel like those.
It might be worth shopping around, but
Okay.
I think just settling on a design would be a progress for us.
Yes, for sure. Do we like the two? I think two-sided is the way to go.
Depending on the location, I guess. If it's on a roadside and you're coming both ways, then two-sided is fine.
But maybe Oliver Street could
If
be
it's up
one-sided.
against the woods, then maybe it doesn't matter.
And how many do we paint?
That's a great question, right? And they also said that there'll be a discount if we order a higher quantity. We were originally considering this to start with Oliver Street. And then to do, I actually was speaking with the Parks and Rec director, John Mason, about a larger wayfinding sign project that the city would like to do. So a combination of some conservation area parcels and some of the parks parcels. Like there's no sign for Nonotuck out on Route 5 or 141. And John would love a sign for Nonotuck.
Whenever I was driving in there with my kids for soccer or whatever, I was like, how do the other towns possibly ever find where they have to go in there?
Honestly, right. So we think a wayfinding is, and it's in our open space and recreation plan that we want more wayfinding in the city. I think the previous mayor really saw that as a goal. So I think our initial thought was we do a pilot sign, like we just order one, get it up get everyone excited about our new fancy logo, launch it. Then we do a larger, and we'd pay for this out of our open space account. And then we would do a CPA request or a wayfinding project. And does the commission like the idea of collaborating with Parks and Rec on that?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
So remind me how the sign, how are we using it? Where is it? How is it being hung? What's our vision for?
Okay, I think our vision was like one of those, like how the trustees has it, like one of those things, and then chain, and then signs.
Yeah.
Which means that maybe 2 by 2, particularly with our bright, vivid, exciting sign, would be large enough if we wanted to go there for Oliver Street. So Oliver Street, have all the commissioners been there yet? You guys been to this parcel?
I have not.
You have not. I think we should do a field trip in the spring when the lady slippers are blooming.
I see.
It's lovely.
Calendar.
Awesome. And then we're planning on doing, and I have some of our icons below it. So then we're planning on doing, so this is like big sign, logo sign, and then this sign will say the name of the property.
Right.
And then we'll have another sign, and maybe more than one, depending if there's a lot of things, of permitted and prohibited uses.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was the vision
So is the price for all the pieces?
No,
No,
it's
it's
just
just
for the main sign.
So the whole thing is gonna be like 10 grand installed per one.
I don't know about that, but
Jay doesn't every night.
yes.
Bikers told me they would definitely install it. They would haul it in.
And-
I think we can start to look, I think we get the sign pieces and then we figure out the wood. I think there's maybe some ways we can work with some of our project partners to get this a little more DIY, but I think the actual sign itself, we should go for a professional sign. We're working with a graphic designer. I think it's worth it to get it
I think it's
looking
worth,
nice.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
finding a couple different people that could do it.
Okay.
And is there a thickness to it? How does it hook, you know?
Right. How does it hook to the chains
Right.
that go through?
Yeah.
I think let's see if we can just look up an image of the high
You
density.
can buy it in
You can tell I have like
1/4 inch, 1/8 inch,
no problem. There's
1 inch.
I've had it before.
That you make a sign like this and it doesn't work.
Well, no, like, you know, you think it's gonna be one way and it's.
This is a material they use in boat construction. It's, you know, so it's like made for water.
So it's like, I guess these are different. It's a nice look, the routed. I think. So you're wondering if it's hard to have the hooks in it?
Right.
I will ask about that.
So
I think it's really sturdy material if they use that.
So they're drilling.
They would drill the holes and then these would be chains.
Yeah.
Is what I imagine.
Okay.
Right. And I think there are ways to, for hanging materials, you can, just like hanging a door or shelving, so the weight of what's hanging down is distributed and you're not putting all of the weight on a small piece of the sign and that risk and tearing through.
Okay.
That did not come out in anything close to it. Never mind.
I can confirm though how they're made. Do we think for this first one, Oliver Street, we'd want just a 2x2? Keep it small, one-sided 2x2?
How big are those old ones that we had that sort of?
I think those are probably 2x2.
Yeah.
Let's go with 2x2, install it, and then see if it passes the appearance and visibility test.
What were the costs again? They were.
Yeah, they were, okay, so if we one-sided 2x2, 1,400. Cost estimate for a single-sided 24x24, 5 colors and a UV coating would be 1,400.
And 3x3 is.
2,300.
It'd be a shame if 2x2 was too small. I'd pay $1,800 for it.
I mean, 2x2.
Yeah, we need a visual.
Can we plot that out at the sizes and then somebody go out and like hold it up and see if it
How
looks.
big is that?
Probably 2x3.
Yeah, I think that's
Cut about. Just cut a piece of cardboard out, the 2x2 and sit on woods and.
Yeah. Yeah, so if it were 3x3, it'd be up to here. And then up. That's gonna look pretty small outside, I think.
so maybe we do a 3x3.
Right.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
I wish,
So we're only gonna try the one, see what it looks like, but then if we stay with them, would they give us
A discount.
a discount if we order more?
Yeah, and I haven't like pursued this too much. This particular sign maker rides these trails, so I also think
Okay.
there's maybe a connection that we can try to.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could ask this particular sign maker,
Right.
size.
What size he thinks would be
Yeah.
appropriate. Yeah,
Yep.
I could ask him for that.
All I know is when you're going down the highway and you look at the signs on the side, you're like, oh, that looks like it's about like 5 feet by 8 feet or whatever. But then you start looking and you're like, that's actually bigger than my house.
Yeah. Right. And luckily, like Oliver Street is kind of essentially a dead end. So if somebody's going there, they know where they're going for this parcel. Some others would be different. Like I think if we were to replace like the Borkowski sign, that's one where people are just driving down Hendrick Street and to see it out their window going 35 or whatever, 30 miles an hour as people do down Hendrick. We feel good about the sign though. Any last?
We still have a choice on.
Oh yeah. Or I mean, you ultimately still have like, do you want the letters disconnected from the sun? Isn't it funny we ended up back at the star?
You gotta get back up there, that's all.
Oh, I'm not going.
We're well aware.
I think the little starbursts are gonna disappear.
I also, I wish we had an explanation as to what stream or river it is. The Manhattan does
Can they
meander
write
like
in
that,
what
but
it
it's
is?
nowhere near that
No.
spot. Whatever. It's fine if everybody else is fine with it. I'm fine with it.
No, Julie's little hand glider.
Nah,
We didn't like it. We thought they looked like insects.
Yeah, it didn't look right.
Oh,
Yeah, what's the, I don't know.
What are you thinking, Commissioner August?
I mean, did we want the star or the star is?
I think we ended last time saying we wanted the star, but
Instead of the towers.
Yeah.
do you like it? Do we not like it?
I don't like it.
I don't think Julie liked us. I don't remember.
Okay.
Was
So the
star
problem is
something
if we don't have the star, the concern was that it's not identifiable
Right.
as mountaintop.
Yeah, no, yes.
That like we had issues with the shape. We had issues,
It wasn't steep enough or something.
right?
Right.
But she traced our graphic designer traced the actual mountain.
Mhm.
So the arguments that it's not steep, I mean, it could be exaggerated for sure.
That's what what was it, the Hudson River School of Painters in the 1800s did. They exaggerated slopes like dramatically.
They did, yeah.
Yes.
It's true. They made our area look really mountainous. Did we ask for the star removed?
I think it's gonna be, I don't know.
Well, that's easier than putting something else there. I mean, bloop, you can just take that star out.
How do you feel about it, Jay?
Who's opposed to the star? Like, who's taking an actual vote here?
Yeah, I could go either way.
Trying to get consensus on this is gonna be impossible.
I just think it's a symbol, and I think we don't know what that symbol means to some people,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's controversial.
I don't know.
If you don't know what it is.
I don't know. I believe if you go back to the minutes from several meetings ago, you will see me saying like, makes me feel like I'm in church, you know?
Commissioner Weeks, Commissioner Laura.
I don't mind the star, but I won't be bothered if it's taken away. It's not gonna bother me.
I could go.
And I think you're right, it's a symbol, so.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is. It
if we-
can be a symbol.
I'm gonna wager that it still looks like Mount Tom. What do you guys think?
Let's take the center out and go with that.
Throw a little graffiti on there. Yeah, I'm kidding.
That's, yeah, I like that better than the star and hang letters.
Yeah, no, I think it's still discernible as
It's
Mount.
gonna be one sign and then we can throw it away and move on to another design, so.
And we don't want to do that though.
I know that's what I'm saying. We get one made and then if we all hate it, then
Does anyone like it? Does anyone want to speak for it? I like it. I think it's a nice sign.
it's a good starting place without the star then.
But I'm okay with that.
It's 2.5.
How do you feel about it, Jay?
Yes, I'm one of the two.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine
Okay.
without the star.
That's 4.
Okay.
The star, Maureen?
No star.
No star. All right. Okay. I'll communicate that to her. No star.
Are we doing two-sided? Or we did the star on one side?
Oh, don't start. Sorry.
You are not being helpful.
Oh my gosh. Okay. No, I think
Gotta go home.
I think for Oliver Street we're doing one sided based on where it's going to hang because it's a dead end. So I feel
And it'll be
I feel
great to
good
see
about
it for real, and then when we decide where else we're gonna put them and whether or not that design is gonna work for us, so we can make a larger bulk order and get a discount on additional signs.
For sure. Exactly. Okay, so she has the first 4 little icons for us. So this is to be like leave no trace, like there's no trash here. We can decide we don't want any of these icons
There's some
too.
standard ones already out there in the world that,
There are standard ones.
yeah, so you want to see something that's international that people don't understand or
We can
yeah,
do that.
maybe we should stick to something that's more, standard kind of thing.
Okay, fair enough. That was a question she had. She was like,
Yeah.
there are standard icons we can use. You could use those. She gave her little artist
Right,
renditions
yeah.
of them.
So let's go with the standard.
Okay.
Everybody
I think so.
All right, standard
I'm not sure what
icons.
we're trying to say with these, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, none of them have a line through them. So
Yeah, I think they could have a line through them.
go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, have a fire.
Have a fire.
Totally. I thought her dogs were cute, but yeah,
The dogs are cute.
They're-
Yeah.
no. 4-wheelers? All right, cool. Okay, no more. Very good. Okay, so we're doing no star, but the sign otherwise is good. We like the colors.
Try the colors, see how it goes.
Okay. I mean, if we don't like the colors as they're up,
I
we
like
can
the
change the
colors.
colors.
I'd be eager to see them on a board.
All right.
In the wood. I think they'll look nice.
All right, very good. Okay, this is great. Fabulous. Thank you all. Thank you all for participating in this process.
It's been fun.
Great. Updates. I don't have a ton of updates. I guess, yeah, I don't. One thing I will just say for number 1, Pleasant Street Mills, if commissioners have noticed it recently, it was the stormwater basins were mowed along the bike path. Those are the remaining items. And I have observed them after a couple rain events. I think they're infiltrating within 72 hours. The stormwater basins along the bike path. The COC requires an as-built, and the contracts have been long closed out.
Yeah.
So I'm just warning that I'm just prefacing the fact that I think the city may come in front of you looking for a waiver of the as-built
It's been too long.
with evidence of the stormwater systems functioning.
No, didn't we change one not that long ago? We did, or something. It is something.
A basin.
Imagining it.
One of the
Yes.
basins. There was some serious woody vegetation growing in one of them, and then they brush hogged them, and they're now not
Yeah.
woody anymore.
I thought they made a modification to,
Ago too.
yeah. There's a big slope failure right on the side, on the outside.
Yeah.
Which I thought maybe, like, after having not talked about it for years and years and years, I just imagined that. So last weekend, last week I just took a walk and I was like, oh, it's still there.
Yes.
Still there. Oh, well.
Totally.
Yep. This little.
Yeah, real.
Mhm.
The other update I'll share is that EC Top has continued to plug along. We've been having our monthly, I make it to many of the monthly site visits. Things are looking good in compliance. We've been getting our reports from Greg. Can show the last one we got.
Did we have a time frame for when the crossing is being repaired?
Yeah, the most recent update says, they told me at the last meeting that they're not expecting to do the crossing until next year at this point. But they're now within buffer zone of resource areas. But their sediment appears to be in control, and yeah, things are plugging along. You can show.
I was at the dentist last week and Jeff Bag was inside. And like I was up at the desk, he was in the thing, and I had to go back, and I went up to the car and I was trying to get to the haircut place before it closed. And I like got in the car and like sat down and turned it on, and then he ran up and said, roll down the window. And I rolled down the window and he was like, what? And he was just asking questions about Tasty Top. And I was like, I don't know, I think it's all going fine. And then I didn't get to the haircutters.
Your service for the city does not go unnoticed. So much, I appreciate it. But yeah, things continue to look good. I can show you guys some photos at a future meeting of where they're up to but they're starting the construction of the daycare. That's where they're at.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Down to general business. We've got some minutes with Commissioner August's updates.
I looked at them.
I did do them.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes
I
from
move that
August
we accept
27th?
the minutes of the August 25th meeting.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
One. Very good. Okay. And then the next update I had for you, the ordinance. Okay, so we have a draft that we're feeling excited about. It's going to the city's attorney and soon it will be coming to you. So before we do that, my next task is to construct basically like the argument packet for it, the like cover letter for the ordinance. And so I'll be writing that up. And then you guys will be my first trial case for it. So hopefully it's you can tell me if it needs, certain parts need to be fleshed out a little more. And the purpose of that is to really make the argument of why this ordinance and like why now, right? Why does Easthampton need an ordinance? What's special about here, our wetlands, our soils, our mountain, and our like glacial history, and then why now with climate change, and we know that flooding's increasing. We've seen developments built on wetlands in parts of our city that have experienced considerable flooding issues, and really making the case that we're not creating a hurdle to development, but rather creating a set of requirements that will prompt smarter development for the city.
Do we know why the old ordinance went away? Was there? People didn't want to deal with it.
I was still in high school.
Well, I know.
I've never even heard of the name of the city of Easthampton.
So my understanding of the old ordinance is that the commission at the time in the early 90s was acting extrajudicially, not actually related to their ordinance, but was just going beyond
what they want to do and
exactly
using it as a tool to have their own agenda.
Right, but that their ordinance didn't actually allow for some of the actions that members of the commission were taking. And so the city council was frustrated with the Conservation Commission, and I think it was a political move to remove the ordinance.
I just want to, whatever we have to do so that doesn't happen again. That's
Yes.
all, make sure that's built in so that it doesn't get shot down for those kinds of reasons.
Totally. Yeah, I think the harder arguments that we're going to have to really make is just that we're not trying to prevent housing from with this ordinance, right? Or we're not trying to make it more expensive to build housing. So I think those are the conversations that we'll all have to be ready to field. And hopefully this reference document I can build can get us there.
And you're sending them out separately.
Oh, yes. Great. Good point, Commissioner August. So I will send you, once this packet is constructed, I will send you the cover letter for the ordinance and the ordinance, and you're going to individually review it. We're not going to review it in a public hearing at this time.
Okay, sure.
And so, but then I'd love your comments and feedbacks. Exactly. So, you'll have time to do it. We're not trying to rush this through. It's been a 3-year process already.
Right.
So, but we're hoping that each one of you can do an individual review, and I'm happy to sit down and meet with you and discuss it as well, if that's helpful.
Why is that the way that has to be? Just curious.
Rather than doing a public hearing for it. The desire is to basically get it as vetted as we can.
That makes sense to me too.
And to talk about it within other boards and other departments within the city to make sure that as many people are on board with it as possible before we move it public.
Okay.
Knowing that the biggest public discussion, if there will happen, but council level, which we'll have to eventually
hold a public meeting for it.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. I have a Wetlands Protection Act exempt activity to update you on for gas lines, electrical lines. This is one of our usuals along the transmission line right away.
Power source.
I think who is this one? National Grid.
Do we have to vote on something, or just?
No, I'm just letting you know.
Just so if someone says, "Oh, why are we digging holes over here?"
Exactly. Yeah. Why are you digging holes over here? It's for the power. This is the line that they're working on.
All right.
Cool. Other updates I have for you real quick. October 25th is Saturday, October 25th is MACC's fall conference. Their conference is about balancing the needs of housing, energy, and environmental protection, which is a really timely, I feel in my role is a very timely discussion topic. And it looks like a really great, program agenda. And just a reminder, the city will pay for your registration. So if you want to come join me at MACC this year, even that session, nuts and bolts of permitting 40B projects, right? 385 is a 40B project. I think this is the commission's first 40B project. So let me know if you'd like to register. You can register yourself through MACC and then send me the invoice and I'll pay it.
Okay.
Are they also doing virtual?
No, it's only in person.
Yeah.
Only in person.
And this is a Saturday?
This is a Saturday. Yeah. Yeah. In Devens, Massachusetts.
Devens.
Yeah. But it's fun. You get to meet commissioners from all over the state.
I had a good time at the last one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm worried. I can't do this one.
Totally. Bring your kids. No. Have a great time. All right. And lastly, we're just going to close it out with a drought status. Remember when we were doing these last fall? Level 2 significant drought has been declared for the region dating back to August 1st. So I definitely had a couple different wetlands professionals tell me that they were not doing stream flow monitoring anymore back in August, and they were spot on because any of that information. Yeah. So we're in a level 2 drought, effective until updated. We can't review the main thing that means for us is pond delineations. We can't review this time, and stream flow, determining intermittent stream to be, or determining a perennial stream to be intermittent. We can't review for any evidence dating from August 1st until present.
Is there any city water ban? I haven't heard it mentioned yet, but
I haven't heard it mentioned yet either.
this.
Yeah. It's certainly part of the recommendations in here about.
Yeah, it's funny. Usually the city would do a water ban with, I think it's for Connecticut River flow, and like Connecticut River so low. Cause it's like, if we think it's dry here, like New Hampshire and Vermont, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculously dry up there. But yeah, and they even, it was like a couple of weeks ago, it was like, man, I think I can wade across the Connecticut River in Deerfield now.
Yeah.
Or Sunderland, where that is. But, yeah, it's crazy.
Conservative with your water use.
Yes.
And very good. And that's all I have for you.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Beautiful. Motion carries.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.